Mike Dolson,
I'm here.
Tom McDonald,
Here.
Jamie Pluff,
Here.
Greg Demontier,
Here.
Carol Langford, Danielle Matt, Bing Matt, James Steele Jr.,
Good
Mark
morning.
Charlo, Len Tooteeth,
I'm here.
Lanish Trahan.
Hey, would you give us prayer this morning? Not feeling good? Tom? Would you give us prayer this morning, please?
Creator, I want to thank you for this day. Thank you for all the gifts you've given us, resources for our people, our health, our safety. Give you thanks for all the people that do the work for our people, our teachers, our law enforcement. Special prayer for all of our people that are in the military. We also want to give thanks for our staff that work very hard every day. We hope you guide us today as we do our decisions for our people. We do all this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Tom. We do have minutes from June 25th.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, James.
Yeah, thank you. I was attending the National Association of Food Distributors on Indian Reservations conference last week, and I have a little report on that.
Motion by Len to approve the June 25th minutes with corrections. Oh, go ahead, Greg.
Top of page 9 on the transfer of the Elmo Travel Plaza project to SNK Technologies should read pending approval of a project proposal.
We have a motion by Len to accept the minutes and a second by Greg. All in favor? We have 7-4 and 8-4, and Jamie abstains. We have an agenda for today. Anything to additions to the agenda? We have one walk-in. Danny? Danielle and Lynn?
I have some, Mr. Chair.
James? Okay. Jamie. Motion by Tom to approve the agenda with additions. Second by Danielle. All in favor? Okay. It looks like we're unanimous. We're picking up more and more walk-ins. Sounds like we'll have 3 walk-ins. Well, we'll start with Yara, come on up. Morning. Yara. Well, welcome.
That one? There. Morning. she decided not to come up. Thanks for seeing us today. This is my grandson, Pierce. He's 7 today. Tomorrow he'll be 8, and his mom is JC back there. And we're here to request a waiver for a group permit. We had originally planned to have a family celebration, a baptism in Mission Creek at my aunt's house, but we were advised the water's not safe. And so we decided we should change our venue to maybe Mission Dam. And we have a bunch of family that are enrolled, a bunch of family that have permits, and some that are non-tribal and don't have permits coming from out of town. So we're requesting a waiver for a group permit. There's probably maybe 3 to 5 people that we would need to have a waiver for. The rest of them are all good, but it's a small ceremony, maybe 20 people at the most, 2 to 4 hours in the evening tomorrow. So it's a last minute change. And so we're requesting something so we can still have our celebration for Pierce. It's his baptism tomorrow and his birthday. And so we're just trying to have something so if we're not in dangerous waters with Mission Creek. And so we did talk to Whisper, and she said that we would have to have approval first and then they could do the permit. But we're just requesting a waiver for a few people to attend.
Tom, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, congratulations. I'm excited for you. Given the circumstances of the floodwaters and inability to be able to plan for that, I would make the motion to approve the waiver.
Motion by Tom and second by Greg to approve the waiver for 3 to 5 people tomorrow for the celebration. Any other questions? Jen?
Abby, can you send that to Fish and Game so then Dan knows, and also send it for Jerry
Okay.
so I can print it out for her?
Sure, could I get the name of the person, please?
Yes, it's Jerry Stewart. I'll email you the info.
All in favor? We're unanimous.
Okay, thank you so much.
Have a good event. Justin Lindquist, come on up. Good morning. Use the microphone, please.
Oh, sorry. Just checking on the phase 5 and 6 project to see what's going on with that.
Actually, I think that's coming in today.
Oh,
And so we will know more after today.
okay. So I talked to Mark a while back, and this was right at the beginning, and a lot of vendors weren't getting back to us. They're like, man, we're like 6 months out. So since then, we've gotten vendors, different vendors. So, I mean, if we had to look at things and change some things, that might be, we might be able to do that. So, I guess I'll just kind of see and wait.
I don't know if anybody else knows any more about what's happening, but it's supposed to come in today.
Okay.
Carol, go ahead.
He was going to present it that day, but it wasn't turned into Jan, right? And
It's
so.
on, yeah, it's on there.
today.
So we don't know anything more until after Mark comes in today.
Okay. Okay. And then hopefully Mark gets back to me and lets me know kind of what's going on. Like I said, those are the only vendors that we had at the time. And I told Mark, we've got different vendors now since it's been so long. Because I don't know where everybody else is. We just took what we got, and it was the last day. We were late. We waited till the last minute, and that's what we had. That's what we had to send to you guys. So, but like I said, we got different vendors now. We can change some things if we have to. Maybe look it over again. But I'll see and wait to see what's going on.
Appreciate you coming in. Go ahead, Dan.
I'm hoping that all of the bids are included in the package because I was excited to see what your bid had. I know we've had this big push for tribal members and you're a member from here.
Mhm.
And by the sounds of it, you would be about 99% tribal member employment. And
Yep.
that would be water compact dollars coming straight back to our members in our community. So yeah, I'm hoping all of the bids are included as we review that this afternoon. But it sounds like there will be a potential decision today and yeah, hopefully it'll go the way we're all wanting it to and employ a lot of our people.
Yes, like I've talked to, like we've had, like when we've had the meetings, I've watched everybody drop out. Like, I can't touch this, I can't touch this, I can't touch this. And Cahoon's dropped out, and I asked them, well, the only reason I'm still in this is because I used to work for ProPipe. And I asked him, need a few $1 million to do this project? Do I got your back? He said, yes. Well, my brother runs the company, and one of my best friends is the pipeline manager. But he designs all these, the Milk River siphon pipeline that just went in. Casey Ryan's like, where'd you get that hat? He says, I'm the project manager on that. And he said, wow, that's huge. So, like I said, if we had to make some changes, we could. Just, I don't know, if you guys gave us a shot, we'd use all tribal members' machines. We'd use like 90% of tribal members. We're trying to get tribal members back from North Dakota back home to work on this because they want to come home too. So I guess I'll just wait and see what
So we appreciate that,
what
Judge.
you guys think
We
or
really do.
what happens. So, all righty. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for seeing me.
We have Craig McClure. He's still seeing Louis? Okay.
That's all he's requesting though was to get approval for the sign, so we sent them down there to see
Yeah.
Louis McDonald.
Yeah. Danny?
And thank you, Mr. Chair. I had a request from a few community members to extend the comment period for Wild Plum Landing by 2 weeks so we can get a community meeting in place. I did speak with Rich yesterday and made sure it wasn't going to impact the project and it's not going to have any negative impact. So with his blessing and then with the council's blessing, I would coordinate with Tabitha to set a time and date down there for a community meeting. So I guess I'll make the motion to extend the comment period at Wild Plum Landing by 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Motion by Danielle to extend the comment period for the landing on the river. Second by Lynn. All in favor? We're unanimous, so that's an 2-week extension.
Thank you.
Yeah, Lynn, you had some.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. Today I'm asking for a change of duty for all the tribal employees to attend an event called Gathering of Resources, which is going to take place at the SKC gym from 1 to 5 today. It is being hosted by the Early Foundation Home Visiting Program from DHRD. So essentially what it is all of our resources within the tribe, they all come together and so everybody could get familiar and Yeah, so I'd like to make the motion to do a change of duty to all tribal employees for 2 hours with supervisor's approval.
Motion by Len to have a change of duty for any tribal employee that wants to attend the Gathering of Resources event today from 1 to 5 for 2 hours with supervisor approval. Danielle?
I can second that, but we keep talking about the getting out of the silos and our departments not talking together. And if they get to mingle and see what else is available for them and make that, it's a networking opportunity. And I think it'll be really helpful to a lot of people. So I'll second his motion.
Second by Danielle. All in favor? We're unanimous.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, if we can have Rob McDonald send out an email to everyone, letting them know that we approved it, because the event is today. It's after this afternoon. So.
Jen, can you get that word to Rob? Jen? I say, can you get that word to Rob?
Yes.
James, you got something for this morning?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. I attended the National Association of the Food Distributors Programs on Indian Reservation last week. And one of the things that I was able to testify on was primarily in 2018, the Farm Bill had a provision for commodity programs, basically to participate in a self-determination demonstration project. And back in 2018, and there were 2 rounds of it. And between the 2 rounds, there were 16 tribes that joined. And the project implementation began in August of 2023. And there are 15 that are currently part of that. And I testified to the undersecretary for USDA and about our experience with self-determination and 638, and also encouraged USDA to support allowing other tribes to be a part of the self-determination demo project. But I also think it might be something we would want to raise with, our lobbyists and such, to see if there's ways that we can propose legislation to open that demonstration project up and sustain those that are already participating. But it would just allow our food commodity program to buy food locally in a more localized manner, support our local growers, work more closely with food sovereignty, which they are hampered from doing that if they're not part of the demonstration project. So I just felt like, that was one of the things that I'd heard, that we had an opportunity to be a part of it, but for whatever reason, we didn't join it. And so we're in a spot where we have to try to get opened up for us and other tribes to participate as a self-determination project for our commodity program. Thank you.
Questions about that for James? Thank you, James. Jamie, you say you have a couple of issues?
Then the other walk-ins right here.
Okay. Come on up, Mr. McClure. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for letting me check in with you guys this morning. I guess this is on. My name is Craig McClure, and I'm with the Lake County Democrats, and I've been before this body before every couple of years. I help out with some of the sign programs for our Democratic candidates. And we've got 6 state candidates and 2 federal candidates that we're hoping to get some signs out on your permitted lands. So of the 6 state candidates, 4 of them have tribal affiliations. So that's a pretty strong thing. We're real proud that we've been able to get that many tribal members involved in the Democratic program. They've done a good job for us in the past, and we continue to hope for good things in the future. But at any rate, the 2 federal candidates are Sam Forstag for Montana District 1 and then Alana Blankhead for U.S. Senate. But we've had Shelley Fiant, Thetis Crow, Dalton Bradford, Tyson Running Wolf, Patrick Fitzpatrick, and Cindy Brucker are the candidates that we'll be hoping to put some signs up for.
Any questions for Mr. McClure?
Do you need a motion, Mr. Chair?
Motion by James to provide for the putting out of signs.
Okay.
Second? Bing? Second by Bing? All in favor? We're unanimous.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks for your time.
And we're actually ahead of time.
I'm trying to get John Wheeler on. Scott is here though. Have to start with Scott while we're waiting for Virgil and John Wheeler to get on.
We can do that. Come on up, Scott. Morning.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Tribal Council. Today was kind of like a we found out last week that this notice of funding opportunity came up for a national significant lands and tribal projects NSFLTP grant that opened up, and normally it's a 3 or 4 month that it's from the time it opens to the time it closes. But this time, for some reason, it opened up in June, and the deadline is July 16th for this notice of funding opportunity for this grant. It's the FY 24 to 26 grant. So I think that's why it was opened up, is they figured out how much money they had left in that original window for the grant. And now they opened it up just quickly for us to put in whatever we have ready, I guess. And the things I talked about last time I was in was the we had gotten awarded the 2022 NSFLTP funding. That was from Red Horn, Dublin Gulch Road, all the way up to Gunlock Road. And that's the FY22 grant that we got awarded. And then we transferred that over to MDT to get that implemented. But with the subsequent costs increases and stuff, they ended up trimming off the beginnings and ends of the limits of those constructions. So the south of Red Horn Trail and Dublin Gulch is where it was supposed to start, but now it's starting up by I think closer to Hunt's Timber, and then going just after McDonald Lake Road. That's where the current CMGC project that's underway is going to construct. So this application will fill in the part on the south end, south of Dublin Gulch and Red Horn Trail, up to where this construction starts, and then also north of McDonald Lake Road, all the way up the hill to Gunlock Road.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Questions, actually. First of all, how much is the grant?
There's no cap on the grant, and we're working on the estimates, but I think it's going to be about 30 million.
And this is the funding we would use to, for the Highway 93 projects.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
I'm just trying to figure out how this all works. I thought those projects were already funded, so I don't understand why we are applying for grants to fund this project. And it's all good. I mean, we've got to get it done regardless, but this is a federal MDOT project that they've already agreed to do, so I just need to understand better why we are seeking out funding to finish the projects. And I got a follow-up question too.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a very good question. I think MDT was planning on doing these sections that we're going to apply for. The next section to the north that was unfunded yet, we just thought that it would be a greater chance of getting the funding for what we already had planned. So I think I know what you're saying. The MDT is already committed to do that project, and I think we need to hold them to what they committed to. We don't want, like, if we go for this grant like I'm proposing, and MDT already has plans to do that, we don't want them to put that money somewhere else in the state.
I mean, we could use it on other projects, right? Like, for example, the Elmo pedestrian crossing that we mentioned last week, and the completion of the pedestrian path from Elmo to Big Arm. We're able to use this funding for that.
I'm not sure if this, we possibly could have, but the short turnaround for this wouldn't allow us to do that.
Nope, understood. Understood. I just wanted to throw that out there just to keep those projects on your radar
Yeah.
because here we are
They are.
2 years later, Scott, and I'm still being told that it's on our priority list and it's gotten nowhere. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, that was a question that I had. Thank you.
Yeah, and just to kind of emphasize the point that I think MDT was totally committed to continuing the areas that I'm proposing to submit for this grant application. They were planning on doing those on their dime, but this is a zero match for us or MDT. So it's all federal money. So I say if we do this, if we apply for this grant, we have a little leverage with MDT to say that on this corridor, this amount should be, you should have this available for some of the other projects on Highway 93.
Any other questions? Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is federal funding, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so, and it would be a grant award? If it's funded?
Yep, if we
So
put in,
I'm sorry, I'm just
Go ahead.
trying to address the issue of what's on the table here. So even if some of the projects that we would want to do are not necessarily a part of that, once the grant award is in place, we could always submit a request for a change, correct?
not sure if I understood.
I'm saying that we can submit the grant and later modify it as necessary if a project changes or if a scope of the work changes. Those are possible, correct?
I think so. I think a little bit. Yeah.
Motion by Greg to pursue this NSFLTP grant from 4US 93. Second by Tom. All in favor? We're unanimous. Appreciate it, Scott. I do have one interesting piece of information. I met with a fellow the other day that may be calling you, a fellow by the name of Lloyd, and I didn't get his last name,
Okay.
from Norway, who says he is instrumental in basically the standard of how they repair highways in Norway. And he wants to present some of that information to you to see if it might be attractive to us in terms of, he talks about actually doing about 10 times the amount of highway for the same price and in about a tenth of the time that the conventional processes have. So
Yeah, I did meet with that guy and his counterpart, this Lloyd and another another gentleman.
he was hanging out with Fred Billings is who I saw him with.
Yep, that's it. And then I met with them yesterday at 12:30. And I guess the things that interested me about that was they claimed that they could take, like, say the roads that have like big rock problems underneath, like say there's a bedrock or that type of rock underneath the gravel road where normally we just add stuff on top of it. He had a system that could grind that up like into the rock base and make that into a more shapeable and compactable base. And yeah, and then also they claim that 2 or 3 month project they could do in like 2 or 3 weeks. 2 weeks in that system. And then he also talked about training training our people to do some of that work.
He seemed like quite a salesman to me.
Yeah, that's where I see a lot of salesmen, and it's hard to distinguish
But
which is
his process is intriguing, and I wonder if we can check it out in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I intend to,
Okay.
but
Interesting.
yeah, I'm aware of like the salesman pitches I get all the time, and how they're trying to get their foot in the door. But they had a few interesting points that I wanted to investigate further, and yeah, thanks for pointing them my way.
Okay. Other questions from Scott? Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
I see John's on. Good morning, John.
Good morning. You got it on? Yeah, good morning. Is it on? Yeah. We're here seeking a resolution for Division of Wellness and Recovery to apply for a SAMHSA grant. The grant is a Trauma-Informed Services in Schools grant, which would allow us to use our mobile behavioral health unit out on all the schools throughout the reservation, and to fund our youth psychologist position and a licensed clinical social worker position to do outreach in schools for youth behavioral health. The grant would start October 1, and the amount is $400,000 per year for a 4-year period.
No, our paperwork says 350, so it's actually 400,000.
Yeah, we submitted yesterday an increased amount. We worked the budget, and we're seeking 400,000. So there should be an updated resolution that was sent.
Okay. Questions? I would hope so. Jen?
Can they send an updated version in Word to Abby Dupuy?
I did this morning. Yeah, it already was sent earlier this morning.
Appreciate that. I would entertain a motion. Motion by Danielle, second by Bing. All in favor? We're unanimous. Let's get some money and get to work on trauma-informed services in schools.
Great. Yep. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Virgil?
Way over, but we're early today, so I let them know that we're a little early. So I don't know if you guys wanted to take a quick break.
We'll take a 5-minute break. We'll come back to order and morning, Virgil, come on up.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. I'm here today to request a resolution authorizing a partial waiver of immunity for flowering rush treatments in Flathead Lake. We had one last year, and I overlooked it this year when we submitted, and it's come down to this where we'd like to pass another one. Do you want me to read through this for you, or would you like me to do this?
I think we all know what it is.
The
Any
amount
questions?
is about $20,000, so it's not like a large amount. So
Yeah.
we weren't able to treat this year due to the lake levels. So we had to suspend our treatments for this year. But this will secure money for next year, if we're able to do it next year.
Questions? I'd welcome a motion. Motion by Carol to submit our limited waiver of sovereign immunity. Second by Tom. All in favor? Looks like we're unanimous.
Okay.
And a huge response.
All right.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Virgil, the anomaly of having the lake up in the fall is probably going to be something we're going to be facing more frequently than less frequently.
Probably with the changing weather patterns, wetter falls
Yeah.
is expected, yeah.
Yeah, so doing any treatment on a dry lake bed, is going to be challenging in the future.
It will be. Yeah, I've never seen it like this since ever.
Yeah, well, it's the first time that the lake's been at full pool in December
Right.
since the Ice Age.
Wow. Yeah, you're right, yeah. Yeah, it could make it a challenge. We'll just have to see how it goes, and it is what it is.
Okay.
Other question for Virgil?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
You too. Morning, Mark. Come on up.
We're running ahead of schedule today. I like it. So good morning. I'm here today with two contracts for council's approval. There are two projects that have been in doers list for quite some time, finally making their way to the construction portion. The first one we'll start with is the Lower J project down outside of Ravalli. I have a feeling this thing is really long. So both these projects were put out for bid using competitive negotiation, RFPs. We put out the RFP by invitation and through the Indian Preference Office to try and get more people involved. We, on this one, we now received 4 bid packets. The engineer's estimate on this project was $8 million. And we received these packets from Knife River Corporation, Mountain West, Dick Anderson Construction, Cascade Civil, and Prospect Construction. We did not have any tribal preference bidders on this particular project. The RFP was put out, and the grading system that we used was, trying to get the best value for the tribe from responsible offers, and we base that on their total cost, their experience with similar projects, references, and a technical proposal demonstrating that they understood the work, the restrictions, and their approach to sequencing on this project, being another in-river diversion. So on the Lower J here, the criteria after grading all 4 packets, I have Knife River scoring 95 points out of 100. And then this was actually a really, really close grading curve on these. Dick Anderson Construction had 92.5 points. Cascade Civil had 91.5, and Prospect had 80.6 points on this. So I'm seeking approval to award this contract, which is 26-007 to Knife River in the amount of $8,040,995.
Carol?
What was your estimate?
There we go. The estimate on this one's 8 million.
That's what you guys
Yeah.
assessed it at, okay.
I will add that we did have language in both of these RFPs of additional consideration given to bidders who incorporate tribal contractors, enterprises, and entrepreneurs in their bid proposal. And as an example here of the effort that Knife River put into it, I have a call log, email log of 12 pages long where they reached out to, I think, almost everybody on the IPO business list, and whether they were able to contact anybody, whether they left a voicemail, anything like that. And they did have on this particular job 7 businesses confirmed as to be sending them a quote for work as a subcontractor on this one.
And their bid was the lowest bid?
Their bid on this one is the lowest bid, yes.
Go ahead, Carol.
Local, or where are they stationed at?
Knife River is more of a giant corporation. This particular office is out of Lewiston, Idaho. They did the pipeline phases 3 and 4 work down in Arley Forest.
Other questions? Glenn, go ahead.
So what was the language you put in the contracts? Can you go over that again, Mark? Regarding Indian preference?
The language that was put into the bid documents under their instructions is bidders who incorporate tribal contractors, enterprises, and entrepreneurs in accordance with CSKT goals may receive additional consideration.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to reiterate that for the council that we need to have a broad procurement discussion on the doer, all of the projects that's going on with doer. Our procurement policy that's currently in place was put in place years before we received a boatload of funding coming down through doer. So from issues to Indian preference to the procurement process in general, I would like to have that discussion with our procurement folks so that when we have these multiple contract awards coming in on a routine basis, that we've got all of those questions answered and solve the issues in one swell swoop. So that's a request that was made, I think, the last time that Doer was in here, and I would just like to see that happen.
So do we support this contract? Motion by Carol. Second by Greg. All in favor? Tom? Bing? Carol? And James, I didn't see your vote.
I vote no.
Say again, James?
I vote no.
I've got 2, 4, 6. I have 7 for and 2 opposed. Len is opposed and James is opposed. Motion carries.
The second project and contract I would like council approval to award is for the Jocko Pipeline Phases 5 and 6. This again was another one that was put out via competitive negotiation RFP. Scoring criteria was also the point value based on price, experience, reference, technical proposal, and understanding of the project. We did receive 4 bid packets on this project also. 3 were from non-member, and we did have 1 Indian Preference Business submit a bid packet for this one. On the point value, after going through and grading based off of the criteria that we set in the bid documents, here again, we come back with Knife River Mountain West having 91 points, Western Municipal Construction out of Billings 79 points, and Prospect Construction out of Washington or Missoula at 76 points. The other bid packet that was submitted was the tribal preference, tribal member business. Upon evaluation of that bid packet, it was determined that that was a non-qualified, non-responsive bid packet. There was no bid bond enclosed in that packet, along with a couple of other issues with what was submitted. So that packet was not graded due to being deemed a non-responsive bid packet.
Go ahead, Len.
So, Mark, just out of curiosity, how much was the bid bond that's required for these to submit a bid?
Bid bond required on these is 20% of your bid amount.
Well, shit, there's our problem right there. No wonder we can't get tribal members to be putting in for these contracts. I don't know. In addition to what Greg mentioned earlier on our procurement process, we need to really go through these contracts. I mean, really 20% upfront. It's just something we really need to address this ASAP as we're moving through all of these projects, because you know, we got a lot of this money that's leaving our economy, our own tribal economy, and so we need to seriously sit down and look at how we can modify these contracts to give our tribal members fair opportunity at bidding on these. So anyway, thank you.
Jamie.
I was just, could you just be more specific on what you said, non-responsive, and what else?
So the bid packet has a set of criteria that we ask for in it. Bid bond being one of the major issues. But then there's also the company qualification statement that you're trying to prove that your company is experienced with and has the knowledge to do the project, has done projects in the past of similar size and scope. This particular packet, the qualification statement that was included was not even in the company's name that submitted the bid. So that was another kind of head scratcher of why we were submitting a bid under our company name, but submitting the qualification statement of a different company. One of the criteria was the project narrative demonstrating an understanding of the work, the associated restrictions that went along with it, and your approach to sequencing the project so that you could meet timelines and goals that were laid out. And there was no narrative included in the bid packet either.
Do you, do you guys like follow up on these? Like ask them like why that question? Why did you submit under a different company name or?
Once the bid packets are submitted and the deadline has passed, no, we do not reach out and ask further questions. It's just part of the process of would you be giving or creating a situation of, if you ask one, you kind of have to ask everybody else. So you keep the playing field level amongst everybody.
Got Carol and then I got Greg.
Yeah, I was wondering if it would be proper for us to have a work meeting to sit down and look at exactly what you're looking at, like the 4 bid packages, and show us, where this guy is lacking. Because until we understand what our tribal members problem they're having to even meet the bid, we can't do our job to help them. So I think if we could sit down, look, and maybe nobody else needs this, but I think I do, just so I understand what you're looking at and how you arrived at what you arrived at. And I know if we change that 10% or anything else, it starts making the whole process skewed. We've been down this road many times where we went back and forth and did this and that. And, until we stick with the rules that are in place. But I agree with Greg. Let's get with that procurement policy and see where we need to tweak it, where we can help people, our own people, to be able to meet some of these. And these are big projects. So I can understand, if you don't have the experience and you need to have the bond, you need it, because if he can't meet that, then that's, to me, is what that's for. So, I get it, but it's really hard when our tribal members are losing out. But in a way, they are being, allowed to sub bid. So anyway, it's hard.
So I know Doer working with SKMM has put on 2, possibly 3 contractor trainings. I think that putting on a training of how to, I don't want to say how to bid because that's too broad, but defining the pieces of the bid packet that you need. The bid bond, I know there was lack of understanding, I guess, of that. I know that 36 hours before the bid closed, there were questions of where do I even buy a bid bond? How do I get a bid bond? And 36 hours is not enough time to get a bid bond. Even a nationwide company, whether it's a Knife River, a Dick Anderson, that is, well-known and established, it'll take them a week and a half for the surety company to do their background investigation, make sure you're financially solvent, responsible, and all that before they'll issue you the bid bond. So I think that a further training put on for them would be highly beneficial so that they understand each component of the bid packet.
I got Greg and then Tom.
Yeah, I think it's real clear that everybody wants the same thing in this, right? I mean, we want to extend maximum opportunity for tribal businesses or entrepreneurs to be able to participate in these projects. And that includes everybody on both sides of the table, right? The problem is we do not have a policy in place that does that. So we want one thing, but we have a policy that does not provide for that. So our programs come in and follow the policy that we have set up. And then we say, well, wait a minute, this isn't doing what it is that we want. Well, that's because it's our policy and we need to change it. The opportunities that the federal government provides our tribal entrepreneurs is far greater than the opportunities that we as a tribal government provide our own tribal entrepreneurs. And until we reconcile that and until we put that type of a policy in place that is at least equal to what the federal government gives our tribal entrepreneurs, we're going to continue to have these discussions and these conflicts. So, broken record, we need to do it.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Greg's issue is for me is part of the problem, and we put this within our ability to fix. But the big thing is that like when we talked about this at the beginning, is who do we have in our tribal umbrella that can actually bid on these, can put something that does these kind of projects or has the capacity or could get that capacity, and that's CSKT Technologies. And so, I mean, they could put in the bid on this thing and they cover the bond and then sub out to all of these smaller tribal ones. But the other thing is that gives our tribal businesses, tribal members, the opportunity to learn and work it. It's like what you call this is like 477 on the big scale, you know, on the job training on the big scale. It's like when Mark's come in here and says, you know, I got to train my inspector. We got to work this. We got to get an inspector that's a tribal member that can do the job. And we got to be able to facilitate that same type of thing. And so that's why from the beginning of this, knowing that we're going to be laying pipe, knowing that we don't collect indirect off these big contracts, and knowing that we have a workforce that would love to be able to do this, if we could develop it, teach them the skills, have the experience, you know, Mark said it. Where's your experience, you know, doing this type of a project? Well, you got to be able to work it. You got to be part of some company that did this, or we have to have that bigger umbrella of a corporation like SKMM or Technologies be that leadership role. So I think we could try to fix things administratively, but you still have to have people get that experience and be able to do it successfully. And that's where I think we're really trying to struggle with. And Technologies just hasn't put the bid. They did the bid on the building, that Mark's building. That was a big step for them. So that's step one. Now it's just doing some of the ditches, you know, doing some of the other work. And then they can sub out to all of our tribal contractors. They can build in. Hopefully, then they become a competitor and they can bid against Technologies and get that ability to bond. But right now, the only entity that could bond this level is Technologies, at least in my opinion. But I still want to focus on not only the procurement ordinance, but also the ability to do exactly what Greg said, but really work on the ability for our corporations to embrace and do those sub awards, you know, subcontract. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, that's called mentor protege. The federal government, if this was a federal project, this is what the federal government could do. They could go to a Knife River and say to Knife River, we have these tribally owned companies that we want you to work with, and we want you to mentor them because they don't have all the capabilities necessary to work on this stuff. So we want you to mentor them and help build their skills, their qualifications, their capabilities, and we'll pay you to do that as a mentor. That's how the Mentor Protege program works in the federal government. We don't have one. So that's all a part of the same issue, the same question. There's so much that we can do here and that we need to do here.
Guess I got a question, Mark. Can the tribal contractor do the work?
I don't know one way or the other. The company that the qualification statement came from, I don't know if they were a sub. Like I said, there's something there that just doesn't quite fit into the whole of what's going on. So could the subcontractor or the company's name who was on the qualification statement do it? There's a good possibility. The company who submitted the packet, I don't know. I don't have enough information for a good evaluation of their capacities, their experience, their, anything like that.
Danielle? And then I'll get you Danielle.
I always think of this experience. And I know when we went on the tour, I heard a lot of experience. And then I also heard how we helped even some of the current contractors overcome some of the obstacles that were in front of them. And these were very well-established companies. And an opportunity and experience, you don't get experience without opportunity. And when are we going to take that risk to empower our young tribal entrepreneurs, and help them get over this little hump? They're willing to work, and we've got these restrictions, this red tape in front of them, and we keep looking at policy, and really I see 4 bids in front of us, and we've got a tribal member ready to employ 90% of his crew with tribal members. A little bit of hope there that I think that company that probably wrote that qualification letter was the ones that did the Milk River pipeline project, I think is what he was saying when he stopped in here earlier. I think he's got the right people behind him. And I guess my big question is how quickly do we need this project done? Is this something where we have to do it today, or is this something we can take our time on and really groom our young tribal entrepreneurs to be successful? Or is it something we've just got to get done yesterday? It just seems like this money's here, right, through the compact, and it's really exciting, but we're spending it really quickly and just jumping to things. But I don't think there's a time constraint to it. I think we actually have the time to slow down and train our people and put that patience into them, so all of this money can come back into our communities. I mean, that's where we'd love to see these big dollars go, is back into the community. Thank you.
Go ahead, James.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Not necessarily a question, but more of a comment. It's my understanding in the Indian preference ordinance that, we set the preference, but we don't set a minimum percentage of tribal members that need to be hired on particular projects. And I think I appreciate Greg's, I'm not going to say broken record. I don't feel like it's that, but I appreciate his reminding us of the issues that he sees, because I'm in agreement. I think we have an opportunity to direct this money, or at least some of it and some of this work, to our tribal member people and homes and such. And we have, I know all of us have talked to different ones of our tribal members that are trying to get into this space, even get their foot in the door. And I think we have an opportunity to work with our ordinance and work with our policies to ensure that door allows them to get their foot in the door. And, I think of, the Seminole Nation. I know it's a different project, but a $4.8 billion project right in the heart of Las Vegas with their Hard Rock Casino that they're building. You know, I mean, there's tribes that are doing major work in the country that, you know, it's possible for us to figure this out. And, you know, I'm a little bit, you know, with these different companies that we hire, I think we need to just put a little more teeth, particularly in our ordinance, that will tell them we expect a certain percentage of tribal members to be hired, subcontractors to be hired on these projects on the reservation. Thank you.
Other thoughts, other questions? Len, go ahead.
So I just wanted to share with you one of the concepts or ideas that was brought to my attention by tribal members is by tribal member contractors is one of the ideal situations that we need to be striving for is having a tribal member that's able to bid on these projects. And then if they choose to subcontract to one of these bigger contracts like Knife River or whatever, but at least we have a tribal member up there that's running the project and assuring that all of the resources are being utilized that are owned by tribal members. Because that was the situation before was many of these tribal member contractors invested into heavy machinery and were unable to contract it out. And then you drive by, you know, a lot of these projects and you see these machines that they have to go outside and rent them when our tribal members own these. You know, it's just scenarios like that they need to address. But yeah, that's how I envision all of this is where we have a tribal member that's able to obtain these, bid on these projects, get them, and then at least we know that he's going to reach out to our tribal member contract. Not to say the ones that they don't, but I just want I'm just trying to think outside of the box because it's really critical that we keep this money in our own tribal economy here. And if that means prolonging a contract until we can get there, maybe that's what we need to do. Stopping a contract will really get us to really put a fire on this to really address the issue and get these changes made in our procurement process and get these changes made in our ordinance and assure that our contracts are more simplified to help our tribal members put bids on these. So anyway, it's a tough issue. A lot of money that's going out of our economy, and we need to pay attention to that. And we need to certainly set time aside to obtain those goals of trying to change our ordinances, our procurement, et cetera, et cetera. All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
In this bid packet, there was don't exactly know how I want to word it, but there was proof, maybe that's not the right word, but discussion with 4 or 5 tribal subcontractors to do various portions of work on the pipeline project. One of those subcontractors actually has a bid in that is being, we'll say, highly considered because it's hard to award a subcontract when you yourself do not hold the contract. So you can't really commit somebody when you're not committed, but one of those subcontracts is for $1.2 million to a tribal subcontractor.
And that's the Knife River contractor?
That's Knife Rivers, yes. So Knife River's overall bid on this project, which is phases 5 and 6, is $8,556,896.50. So
Other thoughts? In reflecting on a few things said, if we can't find a contractor that could mentor our people, we're in trouble with even the procurement policy that would open that door. And I guess the other question is possible to break these jobs into smaller pieces that could have a smaller bond, because there has to be a bond, just as Carol said, there has to be a bond there. That person that's responsible, he has to be responsible. So, and a 20% bond is not necessarily on the high side of anything. So, could these projects be broken into smaller pieces?
it would have to go back to the engineering consultant for, I guess, proper phasing of, how could you do it and still have it be functional, if you're going to break it up, let's say into arbitrarily, we'll just say 10 pieces, how to build those pieces so that the rest of the system could still function properly.
I don't know what kind of bond our contractors can actually afford, but that's where I would target the pieces at, so that they could make that bond. I don't know what that is. You say one of the subcontractors has a $1.2 million subcontract loan, so they must have some sort of bond on that. So the question today is, do we go forward with this contract? It does sound like Knife River is putting the foot forward to try to put a tribal contractor to work. Carol?
That being said, I'll make the motion. If it doesn't go, then we know what we have to do. So I'll make the motion that we award. And I'll make that motion due to the fact that there is a tribal member in that subcontracting list that has an opportunity because he meets the requirement.
A motion by Carol. Can I get a second? Second by Tom. All in favor? Go ahead, Greg.
Carol, would you be open to a modification on that motion to include a 90-day, I'm sorry, a 30-day deadline for us to do the procurement review?
We'll move forward with the first motion. All in favor? Greg? Then you're against? Tom's for. Jamie's down. Danny's down. Beng's for. Carol's for. James?
I vote no.
Votes no, and I'm for. So what do I got here? I got Len down, Jamie down, Danny down. I got 4 opposed in Len, Jamie, Danielle, and James. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for. And Greg, Tom, myself, Bing, and Carol. So the motion carries.
Mr.
Carol.
Chair.
I got Carol, and then I'll get you, James. Go ahead, Carol.
James is probably going to put a statement for the record, so I'll let him go ahead. I'll yield to you.
Okay. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, thanks, Carol. You're right. My statement would be Ordinance 101A grants preference, but it sets no minimum percentage of tribal members hired on covered projects. I am calling for 101A to be amended to establish a defined Indian employment requirement. Thanks.
And so that works toward the 30-day review that Greg's talking about, correct? So,
And
Carol?
I would yield to Greg if he wants to make that motion since it was his idea and I'll second it, but either way. On the procurement.
Doesn't matter to me either. You were going to do it, so.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we put a 30-day moratorium on working through the procurement process with our professionals, engineering, to make sure that we're meeting those requirements, but also allowing our tribal members the opportunity to bid.
Don't know if I can restate that, but
I don't know if I can
review the
restate it
procurement
either.
policy within the next 30 days to really emphasize working toward getting our tribal contractors working. Yep. Second by Greg, all in favor? We're all good with that, so thank you, Mark. Oh, Rich, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you, members of the council and Mark, for coming in today. I just wanted to let the council know and inform you that we are currently working with SKMM on the canal modernization strategy. And Tony and all our staff at NRD Doer. As you know, Seth will be coming in probably in the next 2 weeks to a month. We just let an RFP out for design work for the canal modernization, about 45 minimum miles of reconstruction of canal work that we hope and are planning to work with SKMM on breaking up smaller projects that we will be able to hire qualified tribal member contractors to do. And we feel this work will be coming within the next year, at least starting, and will last well over at least a decade. So I wanted to inform the council in case you were unaware. I'm hoping you were aware. I'm sure Tony's kept you abreast of things that we are doing to even further our goals of allowing qualified tribal member contractors to bid and be awarded contracts with compact dollars. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Rich. I think our effort is looking to actually tie the hands of our folks a little bit even harder to push harder for our contractors, and I really appreciate what you're talking about there. Other thoughts? Go ahead, Len.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think, in my opinion, I think the direction we need to go is we need to have our legal department working directly with our executive team to examine these contract templates and change those in a manner that helps our tribal member contractors. What are the barriers that we have on these contracts that are withholding them from submitting bids? Because you look at the standard contract, they're very intimidating, you know, but I think our staff needs to be working on that. So
The biggest obstacle to most of our contractors is the size of these contracts. It really is. So thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Rodney Bird.
Morning, Rodney. Come on up. The wrong chair. It's still quite warm. Go ahead, Rod.
Chairman Dolson, honored council members, and thank you for your time this morning. We are currently want to submit a grant for under SAMHSA. We've already had one has been tremendous to the school. Some of the things that are highlight is our digital storytelling projects, and I was going to request sometime in the future to have the kids and us come over and show you some of that in a presentation. We've had almost 100% of our staff at Two Eagle be trauma-informed specialists, and 6 of them are trauma-informed practitioners, meaning they took classes and had to pass a competency test in order to become a specialist or a practitioner. We've had a new youth group called Natural Helpers working with suicide prevention, and it's really a continuation. We had some graduate, we had some coming back, we'll bring new ones in. We have a lot of partners in this particular grant because they want more pathways and not just immediate triage in the school. And probably our biggest benefit is we have a in-house mental behavioral health / DNA counselor. And the accessibility there is just, you can't beat it, because any other organization, including tribal health, is just overburdened, understaffed. And if you make referrals to them, it's just, it's not immediate. And so our counselor is just, they can see them every day. They don't bill Medicaid, and they can see them more than once a day. And it's just really tremendous, branching out, doing after hours family counseling with some of the families. And so that's kind of what this grant is. And the only difference is they split it up, and I don't know why, but they, it was suicide prevention, which includes, as we found out with the cluster of suicides that happened on the res and all the former students that we knew, there was 2 really main factors, and it was relationships, and all of them had something on board, whether it's drugs or alcohol. And they kind of go together in this suicide problem. So this year they separate them. You have to apply for a suicide use prevention or suicide prevention. You're allowed to apply for both, but you can't get both. And whatever one scores the highest, you can get it. So that's what we did. We just did both and keep our fingers crossed. And that's why I'm here.
Questions for Rodney? Then go ahead.
How much is the grant for?
Up to 350,000.
Just for the 1 year, or is it
Up to 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
So it'd be 350,000 for every
year
for 5 years.
Yeah, but you know what they do is they get your proposal and they say, we like it, but we're going to give you this much. And so we always ask for as much as we can in hopes that we can get that much. But 5 years stability for our mental health counselors really just probably the number one thing we get out of it. Is we couldn't afford an in-house counselor otherwise. So
go ahead, Jamie.
I was just going to make the motion, but with the question, is there a resolution that is supposed to be attached with this? Was that sent in?
yes, we went through Kelly, and I thought she was going to send them. Kelly Parker is going to, we send them to her, but I can get them sent right away too.
It's got to go to Abby.
Or Abby.
Abby in Word format.
In Word format,
Yeah.
okay. They're here. I'll just get them to Abby because I was going to ask to get them signed today. I just assumed. I'm sorry about that. I assumed they were already where they were supposed to be.
Okay, motion with the resolution attached.
Motion by Jamie to approve the pursuit of the suicide substance prevention grant. Second by Tom. All in favor? Go ahead, Greg, with the question.
Yeah, so the source of funding is federal, is that correct?
Yeah, it's, Sam says,
It's SAMHSA?
yeah,
Okay, and has the previous, I understand this is a previous scope of work that has already been submitted, so we're going to submit it again?
no, they don't like that. We have different goals and objectives, and this one is building more partners and more pathways.
Okay,
And
so,
not just,
so what's the scope of work that the council has not approved previously?
Really the exact same charge, except when you apply for grants, you can't duplicate. They want sustainability. So a lot of the things we're doing is it's kind of a continuation in that it's suicide prevention and it's substance abuse, but we have restorative justice built in this one. We got partners with tribal probation and law and order. So instead of kicking kids out of school, we relax school policy and we do an intervention thing. So we're building on that with outside entities, not just in-house with school policy, those kind of things. That's the difference. But really the scope of the grant is at the grassroots level is substance use and prevention.
So we've declared a war on silos lately, and so I guess I'm just looking for the reassurance that the health department, education department have been included, if you will, in this planning process.
Yes, the tribal health did not go after this grant, and we touched base with them, and they are glad that we are. So we have an MOU with tribal health as well. We just kind of solidified what they do. So if we didn't go after this grant, tribal health comes in, they do fentanyl training, they do tobacco cessation, they do relationship things, they do food sovereignty things, diet, nutrition, they do dental screening, vision and hearing. So they do all these things anyway, and we just asked them to solidify that and put it in MOU, and they did. So that's a new partner, official partner in the grant. It was unofficial before.
Thank you for stepping up and submitting that application.
Go ahead, Len.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Rodney, thank you for bringing that in. It's something that I was just sitting here thinking about, and what I would like this council to do is have our staff compile a list of all of the grant fundings that we currently obtain that we could use on our youth, specifically opioid abuse, suicide prevention abuse, funding like that, because as we all know, we need to start supporting these kids in activities. Like for example, these basketball tournaments they had the Battle of the Nations this last weekend. They had the Spokane Hoop Fest and things like that. There's a lot of kids here on the reservation that would just love to participate in those, but they don't have the funding. And so it'd be good to know what funding is available out there that we can use specifically for our tribal members to be participating in a lot of these events. I'm not really sure who within tribal health, but that's something we need to, something I would like to see, so we have a better idea of what kind of resources we out there. So when our membership reaches out to us and we're looking for assistance to for a hotel room and gas to take their kids to these events, we know it's available, things like that. So just wanted to just mention that, and hopefully we can get that list soon.
We still need to take the vote here. All in favor? We're unanimous. Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, I want to know, earlier we took similar action on tribal health. and it's, to me, it's kind of basically the same. I'm wondering, like Len mentioned the list. I think maybe we need to do a new resolution just focusing on youth and include that so it goes out to the departments and they know that we want to start supporting these kids to go to these certain events, because I know it really helps them out a lot to get out of this community and come back and realize what they really have here. So I think it's a real positive thing, but we also have kids that are dying. And that's another focus we need. And I think we're doing our very best with our skate parks, with all the things that we're doing, but not every community has it. So I think we need to continue to further do places like Dixon and other places that don't have the opportunity that kids in Ronan do.
Yeah.
So I think the more we can emphasize that to our departments and get away from the silo. There is an attack on silos, so, and I think we're doing better.
I remember that a while back
Yeah.
when we went in a boarding school. I just,
Yeah, but I think we're doing
But, yeah.
better, but it just, we have a long way to go.
Daniel?
I guess to piggyback on what Carol was saying, with tribal health coming in earlier for their grant application, does their mobile mental health unit go to Two Eagle?
well, we're have MOU already.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And thank you for what you do for the students, Rod. I know like my neighborhood kids, they get really excited about all the events, the field trips that you guys take them on. So thank you for keeping them active and in a safe, healthy environment.
Thank you, Rodney.
Okay, thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Hey.
Morning, Mark. Tony?
Do we have the bid?
One that I sent out.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the one we needed in.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's just got a different council request form. Oh, you wanted to do that today? Okay.
Oh, okay. We were the under the assumption we weren't on for that today. Well, no, we were here for the special bid, but Holly can't be here today to a loss in our family. And Desiree is catching up on the budget stuff to get all submitted tomorrow. We have been in once before, back in April, it looks like the end of April, to do a reorganization of the lands department. It was requested at that time to have Tony come back in with us and make sure that it is approved. And Tony had signed it back in April. And this is the one that we brought in where we didn't add any extra bodies really, except for one, but the rest of it was just shuffling personnel underneath the better organization of the property management side of the office now, the egg fencing and stuff, and have compliance, just strictly sticking with compliance. This is fits in our budget scheme of the office, and we would be requesting to get the authorization to get this approved.
So quickly add on to that. Looking at this org chart, there is one box that was added that was new. It would be the administrative special projects assistance. With more and more projects going on, more and more properties being managed, that right there is more of a dual duty needed. We are seeing more projects, more properties that is overloading one area. What Mark's talking about is previously when Mark moved from program manager to department head, there was kind of a shift, and we did lose a few other managers. There was a shift of some of the
the crew to different areas within the org chart in order to have a supervisor and fulfill some duties. Now what this is doing is moving back the compliance crew. The compliance side took over most of the field crew, which basically went outside of more of the scope of what he should be doing, of working with fencing and other field related work. So now that's moved back under the special projects area where that work was actually needs to be performed. And so it's just realigning where workers should be in order for what projects they're doing. The other part of this is looking at the LTRO office and the realty side and making sure that we have enough staff in there to train and do more succession planning to ensure the survivability of that shop and success of that shop moving forward. And so that's really the biggest changes in here. As Mark said, it's all within current budget. There's no additional budget request ask. It's just making sure that people are where they need to be in order to get their jobs done.
Greg.
Yeah, on the bottom, towards the right, there's two boxes. I can't make out the writing in that, but the two boxes aren't connected to the rest of the organization chart. So I'm wondering, A, what those two boxes are, and B, how they're supposed to be connected.
That is actually the USDA NRCS Tribal Liaison Office. So they're housed with us, but they're not part of our budget schematic. This is our office in a nutshell, who's also housed in there.
Tom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the effort to try to realign things to get the backlog of different work and issues that you have. So in the compliance arena, they were doing other things. They weren't really focused on compliance all the time, so they were doing a lot of other special projects.
They were doing special projects of demos, cleanups. They had the fencing administration going on, so they would be doing a lot of fencing agreements. Field crew and them would have to be going out to do that work when that is the special projects, property management side of it. So that's why we wanted to get the compliance people back into strictly that compliance mode where their main function is just what the title is.
So
is that compliance.
I just want to see how, I'm not going to mention any names, but you'll know who I'm talking about. There's in the Arley area, there's a gentleman that has numerous trailers or campers on his property and had some issues with other neighbors that have complained about him. People coming and going, and I don't think there's any power. Or, I don't know. Maybe there's not even water at the site. I don't know. So and then we see pictures of that, from the neighbors with like 6 abandoned trailers and all these other things. So tell me how this is going to work out and how this is going to aid that particular issue.
This right now, since we do have 2 home site inspectors now, so they can be going down there, just check those out, going into those sites, doing their compliance system, following up with their paperwork to get it in that processing through the BIA for the violations. In the past, they were stretched so thin that they weren't following up on the paperwork and making sure that they were being removed and staying in compliance. And hopefully with this adjustment now, they will be able to stay up on top of everything and do their follow-ups to make sure that they are ensuring that all the individuals are falling into compliance.
So on the compliance side, I always think of silos. We talked about silos this morning already. And I look at this particular case, like maybe the individual just doesn't have the ability mentally to function there in that. So is there a connection with adult protective services or anything like that when you do compliance?
We have done that before, is where we've actually got with DHRD and the Elders program and them and asked them to do a welfare check on individuals for that reason. And then they will step in and they will assist with any kind of follow-ups. If it has to go through behavioral health or anything like that, they will assist that individual trying to reach that. And just recently in the last year, what we've started to do is work with the homeless coordination group, and getting that out there to people too is working with the Tawahi and everybody else to be able to find that case manager load to help out with individuals that just can't quite function on their own and do need assistance, but that's what we are striving for right now. Over the last year and a half, 2 years, we started doing a lot of the site cleanups of home sites, trying to help the individuals to get back into compliance. And then that's when we seen the more need that there are other issues out there other than just violation of the lease of with the garbage buildup or anything. There might be a disconnect. So we have tried to reach out and assist these individuals in getting into those programs, or getting at least to talk to the individuals that they need to be doing.
Okay, on the other side of the ledger for the fee to trust issues, how does this help out with our fee to trust or lack of fee to trust?
The lack of fee to trust right now, with Stormy in there, she has gone through the full training. Holly's gone through the full training, so they are moving some of the fee to trust backlog through. The other part of it is we have at least the Adams right now in the pre-training in there for that succession planning. So we'll have the 2, potentially 3 in the near future, individuals that'll be working on fee to trust. The only other issue is that we will be coming in with a request probably to council of increasing the budget for fee to trust, because it does cost money to move all of the trust properties, the fee properties that the tribes own, over into trust. And so there'll be some fees that need to go through with that. But we are working through that process right now to come up with a better solid number, with Holly and Stormy going through that.
Quickly to add to that, the other part of it is if you look there, there's right-of-way specialists, there's titles and records. And so the right-of-way specialist and trying to get more off of Holly's plate right now, of actually getting people hired into these other areas, will help relieve those duties from Holly and allow her to focus more on fee to trust. Right now, she's covering multiple different areas of that shop, and we're trying to make sure that, hey, she has people underneath her to handle those things and get the adequate training in order for her and Stormy to focus on fee to trust. The LTRR position is there to increase the number of people there and increase the backups of backups, because the LTRO process, you need to have 2 people to be able to certify them. And so in order to, if there's one person gone, we want to make sure that there's more people being trained coming up to continue that shop and survivability. So the idea, Tom, is hopefully, and it's been working so far. Holly's been getting the people underneath her trained, in order for her to focus more on other tasks. It's just building that shop up more than what it was, and the expertise and training that the department had in the past. We're trying to build that up still. I think we're getting there, especially with 2 individuals. We just need to keep adding another one to further progress.
Go ahead, Len.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Went blank. Oh, okay. Bear funding. Help me understand the bear funding. How much do we receive annually, and what are we supposed to be accomplishing annually, and who assures that we're in compliance?
That is underneath AJ Bigby. He does the bear projects and the USDA grants. Annually, we can't really predict what annually is, because it depends on if we're funded for any kind of bear projects. They are a 5-year reoccurring funding.
How much did we receive for the Elmo fire?
The Elmo fires in general, they're broke up with weed management, fencing, and so forth. So there's a couple different pools of money in there. Without my spreadsheets directly in hand, I want to say the Elmo fires, just the big draw fires alone, were a couple $100,000.
Okay.
So to quick add on, the majority of the Alamo, so each fire has the opportunity to submit for bar and bear funding based on the severity and the restoration needs of the area. Elmo Fire, specifically, there was a ton of, reforestation needs. And so a large chunk of that, overall funding went to reforestation needs. A quick update for the bar and bear funding. I just talked to contracts and grants and we finally got fully funded for the rest of the actions and projects that were expected to do that were approved 2 years ago. And so we finally got notified that the funding has been moved to us for us to complete those tasks.
Okay, if we can get a brief report showing how much fencing we've done, how many acres have we sprayed, et cetera, just.
Yeah, and yeah, we can have, we can get that pretty easy from AJ, but we can give the overall, Sean DeFrance at Forestry is the overall manager of all the bear and bar activities. He's the lead of our bear team. And we have to keep track of every activity, then report back to BIA every year, of what our accomplishments are.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Back to the org chart. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I'm in favor of giving a manager what they need in terms of getting stuff done, especially as pertains to organization charts. So I only have one question or one suggestion. Right at the very top, you have a business manager, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So the way this org chart is structured, both you and the business manager directly supervise the next level down. And it's probably not intended to be that way. It's probably one or the other. But it shows up that both of you are have hardline supervision with all of your top managers.
Severed that line.
Yeah, so the arrow that goes
The arrow going from the business manager over to my line, I see where you're at on that one. I do have Desiree and I also have Holly as my number twos. So the either one of them in my absence can step in and direct the department. Desiree doesn't like doing that as much as, in that simple fact is that she does the business manager side, she does the collections, she does the billings and that, so she doesn't like to interfere on that side as much, but she has stepped up when Holly has been out. So we do have a overlapping of delegated authorities that we do out there.
Sure. I mean, delegated is your prerogative, right? But the organization chart isn't the place to do the delegation. So.
Yeah, and I see where that arrow is now, and that just needs to be separated out where she's direct line underneath me and how the other managers are directly underneath me also.
Good catch.
With that, welcome a motion. Motion by Greg. Get a second. Second by Tom. All in favor? We're unanimous.
Next item up is the special bid that we did for the Foothills Mission Sago section of the ranch that we recently acquired. This is going to go through as of July through December to come up with a better plan for next year. We're going to be having further discussions with council over the next couple months. The special bid went out. We advertised for 3.5 weeks and then they did a closing on the 22nd and the bids were opened on the 24th. Originally, the bids were to be closed the following on the 18th, I believe it was, but we had the 18th off for the Juneteenth holiday, so we postponed the turn-in date till the 22nd. Staff opened it on the 24th, and everyone had a bid on it. The ones circled in red are the high bidders. These were advertised out at the minimum bid rate at $15 per acre because they are all irrigated tracts. Some are secretarial water rights and some of them are FIP assessed. So underneath this, what ended up happening was we had multiple bids on all of them. The award ones have a good management plan. It wasn't just solely based off of the amount of money, but it's the management plan for the minimum 6 months, what they're going to be able to do out there. The total is roughly $57,000 is what this special bid brought in. And it averaged anywhere from $63 an acre that they were paying to 30 or 28 or $30 an acre on some other tracks. They range in multiple sizes. We were just hoping to get approval for the highlighted reds to be the awarded high bids on this to start that contract as soon as possible.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand the management plan, side of things, but in this particular case, it appears to me that management plan aside, you're recommending to go with the high bidder in every case. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, Tom.
I noticed on the bottom of the page that someone missed the turn-in time by 17 minutes.
Yes. That's why we put that in there. We wanted to make sure that you guys seen that to have a further discussion on that.
Maybe there was a traffic that caused him to come late. I don't know. It seems that the intent was for him to be there.
Yes, and that was where we were having the dilemma on this one. When it was stamped and they put the time on when it was delivered. It was notified to the individuals that it was being extended until 5 o'clock on Monday, the 22nd, since the office was closed on the 18th. We did have numerous of these individuals bring in the bids or already have them in the mail on the due date of the 18th. We just extended the turn-in date to us on the 22nd. They had every option to put it in the mail the week before, which they never did, or over the weekend. The 19th was the only day that it was not, the delivery point was not going to be happening with the post office. So we did want to have that discussion because that one is a higher bid dollar-wise. So we did want to have that put on the scope here so you guys could see it and make the determination because council has the discretion to elect any of the bids of who they wish to see.
I'm glad he put it on here because it just shows transparency of their process and them collecting the bids. So, as Mark said, it's up to your guys' discretion, of accepting the bids or which ones you want to.
So your normal business hours close at 5:30?
We do close at 5:30, but we do have staff that works only till 4:30 or they work until 5. They have a fluctuating work week. Some of them are 4 9s and a 4. And what we do here is that so we can get these guys to be able to get here by 5 to be able to turn them in because we have had people at the door at 6:15 trying to get in and deliver paperwork to us. So we have to put about a half-hour deadline ahead of time. We've done it for the last 11 years down there at the Lands Department on all of them. We try to keep it not on a Friday, but we do have them turn in on a Thursday by such and such a time.
Carol.
Does the bid say 5:30?
The bid said
Turn in.
5.
5, okay.
The closing of it was at 5 o'clock. All bids had to be turned in by 5 o'clock.
I think if that's on there, that's where we have to go.
Well, my comment was, is he already extended it through Monday. It was originally set to close out the Thursday before and looks like everybody else got them in on time. I don't know why the exception would be there.
Greg?
Yeah, my thought is we drew the line at 5 o'clock. And if we then say now it's 5:17, what's to prevent it from being 6, 6:30, 11, or 12 the following day? I mean, if we're gonna draw a line, we're drawing a line, right? So.
I guess, Mark, I got a question on the first two. How come there's two lines?
That was how many bidders were on just for that first 4808-1. They actually had 7 bidders, so there's 2 sets of lines.
Okay.
And same thing with the second set. They had the 6 there.
Gotcha. Other questions?
This is just the only ones right here.
Motion by Daniel to accept the high bids as they are highlighted in the sheet. Second by Carol. All in favor? James?
Mr. Chair, I abstain.
Okay. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 4, and James abstains. Carries.
All right. That's all we had.
Thank you, Mark. Tony?
Do I have the other one up? No? I'll go next week? All right. Can we get an updated report on the Valley View Ranch, the haying operation?
Yeah, so the financials,
Yeah.
the financials, yeah, we can work with Greg on getting that, so, yeah. And we
Alright.
can show, we have a tracking and a planned expense and revenue. Not sure. It might be a little scary because the revenue hasn't come in this year, obviously, but yeah, we can get you an updated one.
Okay.
We can just email out to all council. That's fine.
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead, Carol.
Also a question on Siegel. I don't recall what we did with that.
So,
I get a lot of questions about it.
yeah, so the Moise property is gonna be utilized as part of expanding some of the Valley View operation in order to ensure that that's gonna be managed in a short time. The Mission property, we had to, this is the special bid for the agricultural side, the field side of it. We wanted to make sure that there was management or being used and not sitting idle, because when we see idle sit, weeds and everything else come in. And so we wanted it to see continued for this year, at least, managed. The property, the house, the property wise, has to be utilized, for the time being for some, other discussion we've had for relocation. That has to be set aside for that use for a little short-term period. That's why Mark is saying that moving forward, within the next couple of months here, we're gonna come in with day 2 planning ideas for both sides of the property. Along with coordination with NRD on, potential expansion of, expansion herd.
Thank you.
Okay.
Tony? Morning, Lana. Are we looking for executive?
For the first one, we're not going to, we're gonna leave that open so that you can take action on that. And Chris is the first presenter for that, for
Okay.
contract modification.
Good morning, Tribal Council. What you have here is a modification to our contract with Dowell. They're the contractor that we use to help us with the tribal water right registration. They had a modification that extended their period of performance out to 2027. Unfortunately, it did not have additional funds attached to it. So this is just a modification to extend them through the end of next year to assist us with the finalization of the tribal water right registration.
So we're adding 150,000.
That's typically what we add each year. Yes.
Questions?
They're documenting and registering all of the tribe's irrigation and stockwater rights. They're also working with Dewar to verify wetlands and fish and wildlife and other mitigation parcels that the tribes have purchased over the years.
Okay, do they assist tribal members also?
No. Yeah, just the tribes. They've been our contractor for years in the legal department, helping with the tribal water right registration process. So they're located in Billings and Helena and so
So that registration, that's the thing that we all got in the mail here a couple months back about registering our wells and stuff like that. Is that part of it?
yes, but they focus primarily on the tribe's irrigation stock and then individual trust irrigation and stock. So they don't assist tribal members with like domestic household type wells and other uses for tribal members. Tribal members locally would come over to our tribal water right registration office.
Okay, but you mentioned that they also help individual Indian trust properties.
They're identifying irrigation and stock water use on individual trust properties. Yes.
I think I missed what you said. Why is the need to increase it by 150,000?
Oh, we typically put 150,000 on each year that they assist us. This year, they've had to add an additional staff because our registrations are due in September. And so we've burned through that 150 a little bit faster. So I have about 5 to 6 weeks left of funding on the current contract. And so we just put 150 because we anticipate there will be some odds and ends that they need to help us with after the registration is submitted in September.
Actually have a motion by Tom and a second by Carol to
Thank you.
apply the modification. All in favor? We're unanimous.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next issue. I think we need executive for the next couple ones, and then we will open it again to our last one for probation. But in the meantime, Lindsay and I believe Erica.
We will go out of regular into executive.
Thanks, council, and everybody have a good fourth, good celebration. See you guys next week.
And in the interim, we could probably take action on Lindsay's while I go get the probation.
Yep.
And
we got a request to pursue a mini grant for the voter effort. Motion by Jamie. With NCAI, I believe. Second by Tom. All in favor? We're unanimous. Good morning.
morning. So today we have probation here. Tish had a family emergency and others, so she couldn't bring in, but she needs an organizational chart change and she needs an addition of a grant coordinator for a particular grant that was awarded here in March. And so they need a coordinator to get that started so that they can start moving forward. It's part of our strategic plan in regards to diversion programs for juvenile justice and moving that forward. And so Jen's here to answer any questions if needed for probation for that. And the organizational chart, I believe, was sent out, or it was submitted to Jen. Jennifer from Ally, do you have that? Pardon? Ally, this morning?
So the change is just adding one position.
Yeah, it would just be an added position of a grant coordinator under Letitia, under the director of probation. And I have a hard copy, Jen. Oh, good. Good. Yeah.
Danielle.
I got a question. It's not about the org chart, but kind of follow up maybe from our last conversation that we had when probation was in. And we discussed the number of times a person was taking a random UA during the week. What's the average time a person is taking a UA through probation?
I don't handle that. I'm just the youth court 1 juvenile officer right now. So.
Mike. Okay.
So I wouldn't be able to answer.
So the adult probation, I think it's just dependent on whatever is my understanding is whatever the court orders it to be done. Or it could be, you know, weekly or monthly, depending on if they have the patch or other things or whatever is being done. But usually the patch is a monthly thing that they come in and do that, or it could be up to every 2 weeks for those. So it's a matter of if they come in for either the swab or the other things, but it's a matter of, I think, whatever one it is. But I believe the patch in other jurisdictions has been more cost effective, but there's still the likelihood of, and less likely of, you know, tampering with other things for that. And they can show the tampering if it's removed or not, so.
And I know like on Thursdays, we have all the drug treatment court people coming in to do the UAs, I think, are the mouth swabs. But the rest, yeah, they're just dependent on whatever's ordered by the court. And it's usually daily before 9 or before 10 a.m., I think.
Okay, I was just asking because I think the last time she said that people were getting randoms, not just their check-ins, like 3 to 5 times a week or something really, really excessive. So she was supposed to be working.
Oh, that might be through the drug treatment court.
That.
They might have been doing randoms.
And that could just be too, is that it would just determine also according to the court order, whether the randoms are, if they're not, or if they've had a problem. But if they gradually like move out of those randoms, if they're doing well and they don't do that, that they have consistency and good results from each other ones is normally how other jurisdictions handle it. I'm not sure particularly how the tribal system handles those, but that would be the protocol usually, is that if they consistently have good and clean UAs, then it moves to not so random, like once a whatever, or once a week, or once a month, or every 2 weeks, or different things. So I think it's a sliding scale. So it's not, you know, unless that particular person needs them and has shown that the consistency isn't there and that they become a daily thing or a not.
Yeah.
I
just, a random to me didn't seem, it doesn't seem random if you're doing it 3 to 5 times a week, but my thought process on it is how are they getting from Hot Springs or Elmo or Arley to Pablo every day? It's a transportation burden, and then they need to go to work, and then becomes just a wait. They can't go to work because they've got to check in with probation, and it just adds additional
and I think
struggles to families was all. I just wanted to make sure we're not doing it in excess if it's not necessary.
And it is, I think, a problem of an issue of what the drug of choice is, if it's alcohol, or if it's methamphetamine, or if it's fentanyl. I mean, because you do realize that the methamphetamine goes out of the system in a couple days. So that's why they would probably do a random and do it more frequent. But like as the alcohol patch or any of those type of things, when you have that, it's more of the consistency to show it for a monthly for those. And so I think it's just a matter of which one's the best. But I think that's what, you know, these grants that they're getting into and the planning for it is to try to get better at utilizing that. And I think probation this is their probably second year or so of launching into the UAs on their own and working with the drug treatment court right now to get those going and how they work and trying to see the cost effective balance and making sure that they're capturing what needs to be captured so that we can eliminate sending our members to county and to doing that. And I think that's exactly what this position with the grant position coordinator is trying to do, a diversion program for our juveniles so they don't end up in the county systems and that they don't have to go to the courts. That's the whole purpose of when Michelle wrote it last year, was to get that, and we did receive the grant. So now the grant is requiring us to go in and make a position for that so that we can get that started. It should have already probably been done 1 or 3 months ago, but I think there was just a lack of trying to get it through the grants, contracts and grant system to get it out and down so that we can move it forward and get a position going and get that strategic plan check mark off that we're starting it. So that's where we're at.
I would entertain a motion by Greg to
Let's do it.
a motion by Greg, second by Tom, to approve the new position. All in favor? Yes. We're unanimous.
Okay, I think that's all concludes legal updates. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good long holiday and a good quarterly, hopefully.
Megan. Go ahead, Bing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hey, Lana, before you go, we had a gaming meeting on Friday and a question came up about gaming compact. And I was wondering if you knew anything about what was happening with that, because there was questioning me if anything was brought up, and I told him no. And so I thought I'd ask you or Melissa, if you know, I didn't even ask about the chairman if he said anything. I said, no, nothing's been said about the compact at all. So I just want to know where we're at with it.
Well, the compact has already been, it's already been approved. It's already out there. It's effective for you guys. As a matter of that, I don't know whether the gaming operations had sent the letter and they're wondering whether you guys have taken action to get rid of it. I think that was what their request was through the letter. So I don't know, do you want to go into executive with this or do you want to keep it an open session to discuss anything in regards to?
You say there's a letter?
I think the operations did send you guys a letter asking back in like almost a couple weeks ago, maybe.
I haven't seen it.
I think if it was the chairwoman of the gaming operations, Shrook, I think is what they had sent out to you guys requesting that
I think we can put this
action
on
and
next week's agenda.
okay, we can bring it back in. I know Melissa and I were gonna give you an update in regards to that because the Gaming Commission actually sent that letter back out also to the state for the roulette. So that should be a letter that you guys will be receiving a copy of that they sent out. But I think that was the last action plan is on the end of their letter, it was basically saying that they would like repealing.
We'll visit that once we get it a little more in hand.
Okay.
Thank you, Lana.
Yep, thank you.
We will recess till 1 o'clock.
Yes, no, right.
Need a motion to accept motion by Len to accept the balloting that we had. Second by Jamie to offer the position to Carmelita. All in favor? Unanimous.
Can you turn your mic on so James Jr. can hear?
No. Anything else for the meeting? Well, we will adjourn, and James, we're gonna still have a little council discussion afterwards.
Ready?
So we are adjourned.